now I get to introduce another one who, I mean, all of y'all are just like bad to the bone. Like, can't nobody touch this. Like, you all are just amazing. And I love celebrating brilliance, but more particularly Black brilliance. I love seeing my sisters and my brothers that are doing what they're doing. And I have another one to introduce to you. She really needs no introduction, because if you're in business and you don't know who she is, then you've been living under a rock. But she's the president and CEO of McKissick-Daniel. She has really paved the way. When I talked to her, I said, what I love is the legacy that you're standing on, what your family has created as such an example for Black excellence, an example for Black business, an example for MWBEs, and just as a woman, to be able to do what she and her sister are doing on a daily basis. I'm just so glad that faithpreneurs get to see that you can do it, and you can do it big, and you don't have to compromise who you are. So my dear sister, Cheryl McKissick-Daniel, she is going to be speaking with you next, our Faithpreneur Weekend 2020 honoree.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm looking back at some of our texts, and you have to show me how you work with these pictures and make them look flawless. I could use some of that right now.
You look beautiful, Cheryl.
I am just so excited just hearing you speak this morning. You are telling it like it is, and you are telling what it takes to really start and to run a business successfully. And it starts with you on the inside, and your faith and your vision and your ability to implement on those things. As you know, we are a 5th generation business. The company dates back to started with my great grandfather, who was a slave, and the slave master taught him the trade of making bricks, and gave him his freedom. And so his business was making bricks. And so he passed the business down to his son, who was a master carpenter. And then his son's son, Moses McKissick III, was the first Black licensed architect in the country. And his brother, Calvin McKissick, the second Black licensed architect in the country, with license 117 and 118 in the state of Tennessee. Now, if you can imagine that, 2 Black men in Tennessee, where the Ku Klux Klan started, they were able to get their architectural license and to implement their dream of building Black colleges and universities throughout the South, Black churches, Black residences, and they did that, and they could not even travel at night because they could be lynched. They had crews in Mississippi. I mean, if you think about the deep South, these men were there. And so that is the legacy that we have at McKissick-Daniel, and that is what makes us so strong today. I truly believe that my grandfather and my great uncle, who built churches, not even at cost, for nothing, was their tithe into our company. And that is why we are successful 100 years later. Giving honor to God is really all we have in life. And He certainly will make your dreams come true. We are seeing that on all levels. When I was a little girl, my parents brought me to New York, my twin and I, to see a play. And I'll never forget it. I was 5 or 6 years old. And I said, you know what? This is where I want to be. And I want to work in one of those tall buildings in Manhattan. And that's what I worked towards my entire life. So I feel so blessed to be a New Yorker and to be able to live out my lifelong dream of working in a tall building in Manhattan. But, you know, as we continue to talk about racism in America and what it's like to be a Black woman business owner in a progressive city like New York, because I come from Nashville. So a progressive city like New York, there are still some underlying issues that we need to overcome. So I hope, Dr. Grant, that you will be the catalyst for us to be able to discuss those issues. Thank you for the honor. I'm so pleased to be here today.
Oh, thank you. I'm overwhelmed. And just hearing you tell that story, like every time I read or I see a video about the McKissick legacy, like that's so powerful. Like everything inside me want to shout. So I thank you for honoring your legacy, for standing when those two Black men were still in fear of being lynched. They took action, despite the distraction. They kept moving, they kept building, right? They kept creating so that their future generations could be where you are right now, and you're sitting in that. Like, how powerful is that? I had to celebrate you at Faithpreneur Weekend 2020. This is what I'm talking about. I will speak later on why legacy is so important to me, because everything I'm doing honors my maternal grandmother and the legacy of faith that she left me. So I so love and appreciate you. Thank you